Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Khanjan, and if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing and sticking by and being a part of this community. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to this channel. I make product management in general, and MBA admission related content for free, and I put my heart and soul into making genuine information available to you. I would love if you subscribe to it, if you share these videos with somebody else who might find these useful. Now this video, a little bit of a pretext for this video is that I had put a community post after we became a 1,000 subscriber big family, that what do you want to know the most from me, and this is what the results look like. Most number of responses that I got were for sharing my views on how to make a resume such that you increase your probabilities of getting a shortlist. So this video is all about making the perfect resume to get a shortlist and get an interview call for product or any other post management role. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is what are the components of a resume. If you are a working professional and you are trying to switch your jobs, or you're doing MBA post your work and now you're trying to search another job after your MBA, this video is going to help you get that perfect resume, and at least this video is going to help you structure your resume better so that you can increase your chances of getting a shortlist. So the components of a professional resume are your personal details, your contact details, your education details, the college and the school, and any other academic degree if you own, then that has to be a part of this section. Your work experience, which will be a mix of all the companies that you've been a part of. It can also include internships, or you can choose to put internships in the educational courses where you have done these internships from. If that is applicable. And the last thing is your co-curricular activities or your additional interests beyond your work and study. These are the only sections that are the most relevant to any person whenever they are looking to hire a professional. Second thing is the format and structure. So there is a lot of debate going around that if you're applying in India, you have to maybe put the education on top, and if you're applying elsewhere, you have to put the work experience on top. There are various formats called as STAR format, STAR format, which is essentially situation, task, action, and result. So you basically structure all your points in STAR format. It is a very difficult format to achieve. There is another format called as RAC format, which is result, action, and context, wherein you can tell the result first, then the action that you took, and the context of that particular task. And then there is a CAR format, which is context, action, and result, which is essentially opposite of this. Now, the $1,000,000 question is where to use what format. So I really won't tell you that you should use, let's say, a STAR format in a PM resume. PM stands for product management resume, or you use a RAC format for a consulting resume. But just try to think from the hat of the recruiter, right? That if they have asked for a role where they are looking for a person who is, let's say, hands-on data, hands-on technical aspects and skills, and has a lot of expertise in the domains that they are hiring in, then I would always recommend an RAC format, which is that you show the results first and the actions, and then you give the context. Whereas if it is a more strategy / thinking related role, wherein your people skills, your decision making skills, your problem solving skills are given more weightage, then you can go for a RAC or a CAR format, depending on whatever fits your pointers. Now these formats are essentially for the work experience and not for education and co-curricular. We'll cover those things later on. The third section is the content of your resume. So I'll give you top 4 pointers, or I would call them golden tips, to draft your content in such a manner that along with the format and the sections that you put in, your content is so strong that it makes you stand out from the crowd and get you that shortlist that you desire, and eventually you have enough talking points based on your resume during your interview. So people often make this mistake of making their resume seem so out of the box, and they try to put in all these numbers and jargons, and they try to show that they have moved mountains. They might have, they might have not, but what happens is it might get you a shortlist, but after that, when you start going in the interview and when the person starts validating that information, you might or might not be able to justify that, and that is the worst possible outcome of the interview that can be there, which is the questioning of your integrity. So the first rule is, do not lie on your resume. No matter what people tell you, no matter what you see in other resumes, make sure that whatever you have worked on, you try to quantify and articulate it in the best possible manner by using as crisp words as you can, and also showing impacts in terms of actual figures, revenue numbers, maybe transaction numbers, or making guesstimates based on the ideas that you have about the project. But numbers are not everything. Moving metrics is not everything unless your role was that. Make sure that whatever point you are mentioning, it shows your contribution in that particular task. So just saying that managed a project with 50 stakeholders and tried to work with cross-functional teams, right? That does nothing for anybody. Okay, fine, you've worked with cross-functional teams, but what was your contribution? What was your value to that team? What was your value as a leader or as a coordinator or any role that you had to that team? What was the metric that you moved? What was the impact that you brought on the project or the customer or the company that you were working for? So any point that you make, ask yourself, so what? At least 3 times, right? And that will give you a really well articulated and a full proof point, which can give you enough talking points and supportive points during your interview. The second tip I have is to try to add in context of your particular words and systems and jargons that you use. For example, if I'm in a telco company and I am used to saying ARPU, average revenue per user, or average handling time for per calls, all of those jargons or all of those I would say the terminologies used for an industry specific role. But it is not essential, or it is not given that the other people will also understand these jargons and these terms. So make sure that whatever you are using, which is industry specific or context specific, you mention the full form, you mention the picture of how this particular thing relates to a generic understanding, right? So that even a layman can understand your resume. So the goal is that a layman should be able to understand your resume as well as a leader should be able to get impressed by your resume. That's the second thing. The third thing in terms of content is to keep a streamlined presentation of your content. So it should not happen that one line is in RAC format, other line is in star format, the third line has no format at all. Every possible sentence can be drafted in such a way that it can fall in a certain format, and I have done this, so I know about it. So make sure that you have uniformity in the way you articulate your pointers in the content of your work experience and your other activities that you mentioned. The fourth and the most important golden tip is to bucketize your content in such a way that it answers all the requirements of the job description. So for example, if it is a consulting resume and they've asked for a person who is a problem solver, who is high on data analytics capabilities, who is a researcher, who knows how to do research, who knows how to talk to customers, then make sure that you have buckets of data analysis, customer focus, research experience or research projects, and problem solving, right? So these buckets will immediately bring the attention of your recruiter to your resume versus somebody else who has just added all the content without bucketizing it, right? Because understand that your content should be such that it should be the easiest possible thing to read for the recruiter, and it should be the most impactful for that particular recruiter in that time duration where they are going through at least 20 to 30 resumes per hour. Is about the content of your resume, which is the meat of your resume. And the last thing we're going to talk about is what could be the additional inputs that you can add in your resume which make you stand out from the crowd, even though you don't have anything exceptional in your profile. So the first tip is to use your skills and your co-curricular section in a best possible manner. For example, you might think that you managed an event in your college. How does it matter in this, lateral interview that I'm going to go for? And you don't know how it might matter. Maybe they're looking for a leader, or maybe they're looking for a self-starter who would do a lot of asset building activities in the organization, who would mentor people, who would conduct events over and above their job description, and they're looking for somebody like that. Or what if you had won a lot of sports competitions, or you were very good in sports and team sports. They might assess you on the basis of that and say that, okay, this person's a team player, right? We need a team player on our team because our team is very important for us to be coherent and gel well with each other, and so that might aid your chances of conversion. So make sure that you articulate the co-curricular and the extra additional skills that you have in the most impactful manner. I have realized one thing, that we tend to put a lot of focus on the content of a resume, but we don't really make the extra sections impactful enough, right? We just write that 7 years in dance, Bharatnatyam, right? That doesn't make sense. Like, what have you learned from that experience, right? Did you go ahead and put yourself out in a space of 100 people? Did you win any competitions? Did you teach dance to anybody else, right? Did you do anything with that hobby, or did you do anything about the skill? That is what you have to show in your resume. So again, it stitches back to the point that every point should answer so what, right? Anything that you write, it cannot just be there because you want to fill in your resume, right? If you can fill in ample things in your resume and it won't do anything for you, right? So make sure that you use every particular real estate in the best possible manner. And that was my last section for your resume building. So this brings us to the end of this video. What I will do now is I will link some template resumes in the description box, and I will also try to do one more video for people who are not having work experience and who are fresh out of college and they have to make a resume, because that is much more challenging than a work experience professional resume. So I'll make the next video on that. I promise. I promise to be more regular on this. As I said, I don't feel the best right now, just like everybody else, and there are a lot of things to address. There are a lot of things to manage. So I try my best to come here and talk to you all and make something which contributes to your progress. So I'll keep doing this because I also feel that this is equally important during these critical times. If it makes you get a job, or if it makes you get even one shortlist, my job is done. And I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart to subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, please click that button. It does nothing for you, but it does a lot for me. Please share this video with your friends, your family members, whoever is making their resume, or whoever wants to refresh or redo their resume. And comment below if you have any specific questions. People reach out to me on LinkedIn, but now my LinkedIn is very difficult to manage, so I would request you to please comment here and talk to me. This is very easy for me to reply to. Let's make this space a forum for everybody to get answers to their specific professional questions. Let's try to keep this a safe space and a strictly professional space. And thank you so much. Stay safe. Take care. Bye.